What's good, y'all? Your boy Rodimus back with another video, and as promised, this is episode 2 of Ranting with Rodimus. And on today's video, I am going to talk about the nonsense that is professional athletes going back to college. Now, I know it's a lot of discourse about that this week. It's been a lot of noise and all that type of stuff. So I'm going to give my take on it. And as far as I'm concerned, it really should be nothing. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of energy. And I don't even know why this is going on. But nonetheless, let's just go ahead and dive right into it. The NCAA, I pretty much despise the NCAA from a fan's perspective. I despise the NCAA because it just feels like they're allowing anything and everything to happen. They're pretty much, as the old saying goes, letting the inmates run the asylum, if you will. But, we see it in college basketball with guys getting drafted in the NBA, playing in the G League and then stuff like that. And they're being allowed to go back to college. So I'm sitting here like, what's the point? What's the point in going pro if you're going to go back to college and play? And a lot of people are bringing up the NIL and stuff like that. I personally like the NIL. I've talked about this numerous times before. I'm starting to not like the NIL anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I understand it's a business and everything like that. But nonetheless, I don't feel like this is necessary. I really don't feel like it's necessary. I got a bunch of notes, and I'm going to give my analysis towards the end. The Big Ten was the first college conference to strike the hammer down, if you will, banning pro athletes from going back to college. Then the SEC followed suit, the Big 12. And as of this recording, the ACC made the announcement that they are also banning pro athletes from going back to college. And we'll get into all of that. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. We are going to start off at the beginning, if you will. This started back in June. And as I said, I despise the NCAA personally. But they basically adopted a 5-year eligibility window that allowed players who entered college in 2022 and exhausted 4 years without a red shirt, and they were excluded from that rule. Multiple lawsuits came from multiple states. So whoever those states were, I'm sure there were a bunch of them because they were multiple states, of course. They were not playing. They did not like this, and I don't blame them, honestly. Federal Judge Charlotte Sweeney out of Colorado, along with state judges in Louisiana, granted preliminary injunctions and temporary restraining orders allowing 2022 players to claim a 5th year. And with all that being said, let me just pause right here. A lot of people over the last few years have brought up COVID. COVID, to be fair, did mess everything up and stuff like that. And the NIL and all that type of stuff. So you can kind of say that plays a factor in everything because it did. 2020 was just a mess. Let's go back 6 years ago. 2020 was a mess. I mean, it shut everything down. It was just not the same, after 2020, 2021, 22 and stuff like that. Things are somewhat back to normal, but, during those times 6 years ago, boy, it was something serious. It was something serious. Recently, as of this week, Daquan Wright, tight end from the Cleveland Browns, or no longer a part of the Cleveland Browns, and Xavion Harris, I hope I'm saying his first name right, both guys were undrafted. Again, Daquan picked up by the Cleveland Browns. Harris was picked up by the New Orleans Saints. They got waived and were allowed to return to college to play for LSU. However, these two gentlemen played for Ole Miss. Now, I get it. They want to play for Lane Kiffin. LSU is one of, if not the talk of the college football world this year, right? Lane Kiffin is the new man in town at LSU. Again, they went to Ole Miss. So I get it. They played for Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin was the head coach at Ole Miss, but it doesn't make sense. Nothing about this to me makes sense. I don't care what nobody says. You played at Ole Miss. Yeah, granted, you played for Lane Kiffin, but you did not go to LSU. You want to go to LSU to play for this man. Fine. But there is no reason why you should be allowed to play college football, though you're supposed to be a professional athlete. That's the main word here. Professional athlete. You're a professional. You're no longer collegiate. Professional. Okay? As I mentioned, the Big Ten, they were the first conference to implement rules banning pro athletes, again, pro athletes from returning to college. And later on, the Big 12 this week, the Big 12 and the NFL both agreed that that's not going to happen, because the NFL declared that once a pro athlete decides to go back to college, they cannot sign with a team. That's even including the practice squad. You cannot sign with nobody this season. Once you decide to leave your pro team and go back to college, you're done for the rest of the NFL season. And I'm glad. Because, that's just a waste of time. It's a waste of the scouts' time. You wasted scouts' time. You wasted the owner's time. You wasted the franchise's time in general. Okay? And I would feel some type of way if I'm an owner or a scout or a GM, whatever the case may be, and I'm looking at this guy like, hey, I want this guy for my team, but he decides to go back to college. Then what the hell was the point in scouting you for if you want to go back to college? You know what I'm saying? The SEC, and as of this recording, the ACC made it clear that they are also banning players who are pro from coming back to their schools. The Big Ten put out a statement this week saying, quote, the Big Ten Conference announced Tuesday the unanimous adoption of a conference rule to prohibit football players who have signed a professional contract, key words there, professional contract, were on a professional roster at any point or declared for the NFL draft as an underclassman without withdrawing from maintaining eligibility from athletic competition at a conference institution. The conference continues to evaluate potential rules restricting professional athletes in other sports from conference competition. I think that's smart. The Big Ten put the hammer down, put their foot down, and made it known. We ain't allowing this. We ain't doing this. This is not happening. And I'm glad that the other three power conferences came along and followed suit, as well as the NFL. Here's where the SEC comes in. The SEC, they followed suit like a day later or whatever. So they put out this policy. And I really like this policy here. I pretty much, like I said, I like that all four conferences made it clear that we're not allowing this. This ain't happening. So the SEC, their policy, as far as this is concerned, is previously declared for the NFL, NBA, or WNBA draft and did not appropriately withdraw, signed a contract with an NFL team or other pro league, okay, NBA/G League, or WNBA or affiliate team, or been listed on an NFL or other pro football league, NBA/G League, or WNBA or affiliate roster. And Commissioner Greg Sankey and the SEC also put out some penalties. And I really like these penalties. Some people feel like it's harsh. Tough luck. You shouldn't allow this to happen, first of all. So here are the penalties if schools do not comply with these rules, if they do not follow with these rules. Here are the penalties as far as the SEC is concerned. Half-season suspensions for head coaches, 50% cut from program annual operating budgets, okay, and voting privileges revoked if the schools fail to comply, allowing pro athletes to be on their teams. My question is this: how did we get here? What are we doing? Why is this even a topic of discussion? Why is this even being allowed? Why is this even a waste of time, first of all? So many questions, so many answers, but this right here is a prime example of why stuff like this does not need to be allowed. Once you declare that you are a pro athlete, that's it. Now, if you want to play a fifth year, that's fine. But if you're playing 3, 4, 5 years of college, and you decide, and even before that, you decide that you are a pro athlete, that's it. Your collegiate career is done. You are a pro athlete. There's no reason, no excuse as to why a pro athlete should be going back to college. I don't give a damn what school it is. I don't care if it's USC. I don't care if it's Alabama. I don't care if it's Auburn. I don't care if it's Fresno State. I don't care if it's I don't care what school it is. The bottom line is, once you declare, that's it. And like one of my coworkers was saying the other day, they're taking away from student athletes in high school who are trying to follow suit behind them and get to the level that they are at. I mean, once you're pro, that's it. That's the highest level you can go. Like, what are we doing here? So I give kudos to the Big Ten. I give kudos to the SEC, Big 12, the NFL, and the ACC for all saying, we are not going to allow this. This is not going to happen. This is beyond ridiculous. And again, the NCAA, they just allow any and everything to happen. So again, I despise them. I despise them for even allowing this to happen. The courts that allowed this to happen, I despise them too. But it is what it is, unfortunately. But again, the conferences, the NFL, they made the right moves. They made the right moves by saying, we are going to keep it collegiate. There's a difference between collegiate athletes and pro athletes. I get it. It's a business. People talk about the NIL and COVID and all that type of stuff. I get it. But I don't want to see somebody who just played last year, got drafted to the NBA or the NFL or whatever. They even got the women's softball league and stuff like that. I don't want to see nobody who was playing college 3 years ago coming back, or playing college 3 years ago. Now all of a sudden you in the league, you want to come back. No. You're wasting my time, you're wasting the league's time, you're wasting everybody's time. And that's just basically what it is. I could sit here all day and just go on and on and on and say the same thing over and over. But the bottom line is, no matter what sport it is, what is basketball, football, softball, soccer, whatever the case may be, no pro athlete should go back to college and play college ball, because it's literally unnecessary, a waste of time, and it's pathetic that we are living in a time like this. As far as sports is concerned, collegiate sports, I mean, college football is coming back tomorrow. NFL is coming back soon. What are we doing here? Like, literally, what are we doing? And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. So kudos to the conferences for making these rules, and these athletes need to stick to these rules, or it's going to be some harsh punishments. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this. I've shared how I feel about it. I don't like it, and I'm glad that rules are in place, and there needs to be rules. Sometimes I don't like rules, but in cases like this, I like rules. But other than that, man, I've said what I've had to say about it. Y'all please do me a favor. Like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend, all that good stuff. Yes, I will be posting more videos on the channel. I'm getting back into the swing of things. This will be up very shortly once I'm done recording. But, let me know what y'all think. Other than that, this has been episode 2 of Ranting with Rodimus. I will be ranting more as time goes by. My name is Rodimus, and I will see you guys next time.